Blessed to be a part of your day. Kevin Miller in the morning at Columbia High School. Thanks to Cap-Ed Credit Union, Team Mazda Subaru, taking your calls here, promoting our schools, securing our future. We've got members of the Drama Club and at the current show, Schoolhouse Rock with us. Why don't you introduce yourself to the listening public? Good morning.
All right. I'm Madeline Bell.
And I'm Maggie Keller. We're both seniors at Columbia High School.
Tell us a little bit about Schoolhouse Rock. What's that about?
Well, it's a compilation of all the videos that you saw when you were a little kid. And
well, when I saw when I was a little kid, I mean, those videos are older than both of you, probably a few times, huh?
Yeah,
Maybe.
much older.
Yeah, but we take all these songs and we put them into a show. It's about a teacher, and he's nervous about his first day. So
well, you're very focused. You've already got me off my disruption and back to the topic. That's very good. You guys,
Thank you.
They've trained you well for your appearance here.
Thank you.
I was just going to say, do you find those videos and the play still relevant to your age group, considering how old they really are?
I do. I think that, everybody still needs to learn about the same topics. And one of our favorite songs to perform, actually, is called Sufferin' Till Suffrage.
Oh, come on.
I know.
Haven't we suffraged enough?
I know.
Yeah.
Who needs more
See,
rights?
me, it was conjunction, junction.
Oh, conjunction, junction.
I still haven't mastered it.
No?
No.
Oh, we had to master it. That was the hard part.
I bet. I'm sorry. So the suffrage is a big one here, the women's suffrage.
It's just it's like a powerhouse song, and we really love singing it, performing it together. It's a really fun dance to do. And I think it's really fun to convey that message to everybody, because I don't think we really talk about suffrage anymore.
Well, yeah, you guys got the vote. Everything's great.
Right?
We don't have to worry about that anymore, right?
Anymore.
So tell us a little bit about the plot. Sorry to interrupt you on that.
Oh, no, you're good. It's a simple plot. It's about a teacher, and he's nervous before his first day of teaching, and a bunch of his emotions, which are represented by characters, jump out, and they all sing the Schoolhouse Rock songs to him, different subjects he could teach his students.
Right.
And they all are in the songs.
And he gets freaked out, and he's like, why am I hallucinating? And then we're like, we're part of you. And he freaks out. And a lot of it is like audience participation.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We try to get the audience into it.
Wow. So obviously when this production has come to your school, Columbia High School, what was the reaction of your parents? Because they grew up with this.
My mom was excited.
Yeah.
She thought it was cool. My dad was like, I'm super excited for Verb. That was
Right.
genuinely.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny that I don't think we'll ever see anything like that again. Again, before the internet, before everything else, I mean, you would have these miniature cartoons on Saturday morning that would teach things. They were fun. Again, I can hear when you said Verb, putting out people. Never mind. So let's. So besides drama, what's your life like here at Columbia?
I'm also. I'm in the high school dance team, and I'm also
captain of it.
I'm the captain,
Wow.
and then I'm also in our Columbia leadership class, and I love to be involved in seeing what's going around at
Okay,
Columbia.
now I got to speak into the mic because then we lose
Okay,
you.
sorry. I love being involved in Columbia. I love seeing what's going on and getting to meet lots of different people and experiencing lots of different things.
Why don't we take a look at what do you want to do afterwards?
Okay, so I am planning. This gets far-fetched. People roll their eyes, but I am planning. I love theater. I've loved being a part of it in my high school, and I'd love to make it part of my future. And my dream would be to go to New York and to be on Broadway and to be a performer there.
Why?
Oh, because I love the power that singing and dancing and acting, I think they're all beautiful, separate, but I think when you combine them all together, you have a unique process of storytelling that is so special, and it's amazing to me, and I'd love to be a part of that.
Underappreciated and certainly easier said than done.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I don't know how you people keep your breath when you're dancing and singing.
Me either. I don't know. Lots of practice.
Lots
you
of
just
practice,
keep doing
huh?
it until she stops telling you that you're breathing too hard.
Now, what about you? What would you like to do after high school?
I want to still participate in theater in college, but I actually want to be a social worker. After,
Wow.
Yeah, so that's what I'm looking into.
Well, we need social workers. Now, again, I hate to say this, playing the role of your parents or perhaps grandparents for some folks, you're talking about like fame, you want to perform.
Yes.
That's a classic show. Like the Oldies channel runs that. Can you guys relate to that at all, or is that just so antiquated, that movie Fame? Exactly.
I actually
You've
haven't seen it.
You know what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about. I was like 8, though.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's
Yeah.
been a while.
8, probably. Yes, all right. This is a chance to really say something about what education has done for both of you. You know, there's a lot of negativity in the news, people saying what's wrong with schools. I really continue to learn by being at Columbia and other schools. What's going on that you'd like to share with people that you're not going to hear on the radio or see in the newspaper?
Well, I feel like you don't hear about our drama program a lot, but
Oh, we've heard about it.
we try to be super inclusive. There's nobody that can't try out. You're not going to show up to a theater thing, and we're not going to be like, oh, who are you? Go away. Or everybody's going to be so nice.
It's like me at work.
But along with that, I think it's really important too in our program. It's helped me so much grow and pushed me to be better. And now I'm a much better public speaker than I ever thought I could be.
A little too good, both of you, for me.
Oh, I don't know about that. We're still
Never
working
book
on it.
anybody better than yourself here, and the bookings have been very good today. What will you take away from your time here that will benefit you the rest of your life? I know a heady question. I had to do something
you're
here.
good.
Well, that I'll take away is
That you'll take away that, like when you're, you'll be young forever, trust me. But if you ever get old, you'll think, man, I remember Columbia High School, and I'm so grateful for that teacher, so grateful for...
I'm definitely grateful for our teacher, Glennis Calhoun. She has definitely pushed me outside of my shell. I was a very shy person. I hated being in front of people.
Me too.
I'd shake like crazy anytime I got up on the stage, and she really helped me overcome that, and I feel like that's a huge thing for me.
All right.
Definitely. Biggest thing for me has been learning to manage my time correctly, because I love doing all of these things, but it's really important that you know how to be responsible with your time and what you're doing.
All right. Hopefully you'll learn that. I'm still trying to learn it, but thank you
I'm
both.
working on it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great job. Great job.
Thank you.
We're joined by a candidate for Lieutenant Governor, Steve Yates, joining us, former chairman of the state Republican Party, and the only political candidate that showed up at the big 50 for 50 K. Millie soiree at Dave & Buster's. Good morning, sir.
Hey, good morning, Kevin.
How is
Wonderful to
life?
be with you.
Great to have you with us. How is life on the trail? And how is the race for Lieutenant Governor? A very important office, yet not a lot of press on that, sir.
Yeah, well, I respect the fact that Idahoans have a major choice to make about the direction of our state, and the first office that probably rests on their mind is who's going to be the next governor, and I encourage them to keep pursuing that. But yes, an open seat for Lieutenant Governor is an important opportunity for the state to look at who are the people that bring different life experience and qualifications to the table to maybe bring some new and innovative policy ideas to the floor and help the next governor succeed and grow our state. But really, I think you've kind of started the day at the right place, talking about Schoolhouse Rock, but also education in our kids. And that's why I run. It's why a lot of us run. We love our kids. We want to do everything we can to give them a brighter future.
Are you hearing the usual, as state chairman of the party, you would monitor the legislative session. It seems surprisingly that we see the same complaints, and I'm wondering if you're hearing them about a lack of action on certain legislation, whether it's the grocery tax or the Castle Doctrine or what have you. And do you think that'll play into the campaign at all?
Well, I've heard more talk about national issues and how they play into Idaho than I hear about the state legislature and it playing into the statewide races. I'm sure that when the legislature finishes its work for this session and people focus even more intensely on the May 15 primary, that more talk about the legislature will come forward. I do hear some similar things about personalities and where things go in committees and things like that. But to me, I want to try to look a little bit higher than that. And I just think it's super important for the next state leadership team to be working consistently and engaging our grassroots and our public effectively the 9 months we're out of session.
Yeah.
So it's very, very clear what our priorities are when we go into session. I think that would help both ends of the constitutional balance of power work better together.
Not to get too lost in the minutia, but isn't that one of the roles that you would have if elected lieutenant governor to make sure, if that's possible, you don't have a situation where somebody gets mad, they run into a room, and then the press overhears them saying the governor doesn't want this bill, and then you have the grassroots upset, they feel disconnected because their bills aren't getting hearings. As president of the Senate, am I overstating the responsibilities of a lieutenant governor?
Well, the office of lieutenant governor has a few defined constitutional responsibilities, but I certainly think one of the things I bring to the position is a record of actually working with Republicans around the state and fairly effectively trying to keep people focused on what our mission is, that if something is important to do, it's important to do the right way, and also having given 3 years of volunteer service statewide to our party and its grassroots, to make sure that we're effectively engaging and representing their will as we go forward, and make sure they see that we're doing the things that we were elected to do. And I think that is done both in session and out of session, not just within the bodies of the legislature itself. And I think there's just room for us to improve. It's not necessarily a dig at who's doing what now. I think there's always room to improve, but I think it's important for people to think about candidates that have life experience doing what the people around the state say they want.
Definitely showing the skills that we see on some of the big national talk shows, the Fox Business Channel. But back to the point, not asking you to take shots at people. I just, we're an echo chamber here, and many people are frustrated of, bills and insiders, this, that, and the other. It's interesting how that will play out, considering whether it's the lieutenant governor or the governors. As you know, as former leader of the state party here, we've had you on for years at KIDO Talk Radio, the massive amount of turnover that we're going to see after this November.
Yeah, there is going to be a lot of turnover, and it is an historic turning of the page for Idaho. There's several people who have given decades of service to the state, and some people love them, some people don't, and others in between. But it's definitely going to be a significant turnover. I just firmly believe that it's important for us to engage a lot of these issues publicly, have our processes run in a way that gives people confidence that voices were heard. It's the will of the majority in committees, in full bodies, and it's the will of the majority of the voters that ultimately need to be our guide. And we've got to build those coalitions, engage the public, do things in a way that gives them confidence. And to the extent people feel frustrated, whether it's on guns, education, budget, whole host of issues, I do think that there are better ways we can do to hold their confidence and deliver measurable results. Ultimately, I think that's what we're elected to do, deliver measurable results. And on that measure, I think we can do even better.
Well, and again, as your time either in the Bush White House or as party chairman, you've done a lot of listening, which is refreshing with a public servant. How much does Trump or Trumpism play into the primary here, whether it's your campaign for lieutenant governor or the governor's race or the first CD? Is there a Trump flavor to this campaign?
Well, President Trump, his campaign for the presidency and the things he's done since becoming president resonates very broadly across the state. And those of us that were involved in protecting his nomination from convention all the way through the general election, and I have friends that serve in the White House and in leadership positions around the different agencies, like a majority of Idahoans. I'm grateful that this president's put the pedal to the metal in the economy, deregulation and tax reform, has the national economy humming. He's taking a close look at trade, which I think is an important job to be done at this point, and it really presents an opportunity to us about what we are prepared to do for ourselves. So I think when I go around the state, I hear a lot of encouragement about support the president, support his agenda, and we need to do more of that here in Idaho. And I think there's some positives there to work with. And so building that coalition, keeping those people engaged, and delivering results for them is a very high priority to me. And I think it will be the same for those running for governor and first congressional district.
Finally, a teacher that made a difference in your life.
Well, there are actually several, but I would be remiss if I didn't talk about one teacher in particular, my wife. I'm married to Idaho's greatest educator, coming up this April, 28 years. And I've consumed a lot of education over the years. Some may argue not enough. But I've been humbled to watch her dedication and recognize that some people have a true gift. And the magic of teaching is when a teacher finally has that moment where a child believes, I can learn and I want to learn. And I want to do everything possible for us to do the right thing as a state to help teachers have that magic moment with most of our kids. And so really to me, there's one that looms the largest. I was blessed to have several good teachers, but I married the best.
Ha! Steve Yates, we always appreciate you. Good luck on the trail, and maybe next time we'll have you in studio at the Palatial Broadcast Center.
Look forward to that great day. Thanks so much, Kevin.
Steve Yates, candidate for Lieutenant Governor, joining us here at KIDO Talk Radio. We are live courtesy of CapEd Credit Union and Team Mazda Subaru. I've lost track. 16. This is the start of season 16 of Promote Our Schools, Secure Our Future. It is a blessing to be back on the road at Columbia. I want to thank the staff and the students for recognizing this program. You know, it's interesting that when you talk to folks, and as George and Ray and I can attest, you'd think it would be a no-brainer that you'd have Idaho's first and most recognized radio station at your schools. It's funny, some teachers or some administrations don't get it, but it really highlights the folks at Columbia and the others that we've selected for this season that were there. You know, it doesn't take much for us to be here, but it's nice that we're welcomed. And certainly what we're trying to do is to give you the counter-narrative to what you're hearing and reading in the media about the schools. We've got a lot of great news going on here. It's not fluff, it's just fact about good things happening in your community. Our time, 23 after the hour. You're listening to Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. And 25 after the hour, Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. Thank you all for joining us as we roll on. Coming up next, your phone calls. And I still love this issue about a bill to curb the slow left lane. Also, California is rebelling against the United States of America. Silly rabbit. Tricks are for kids. First, traffic and weather together. KIDO Talk Radio. Let's go to the phones. Liberty Linda joins us now. Good morning.
Yes, good morning, Kevin. You know, I met Steve Yates at your birthday party, you know, at Dave & Buster's, and I felt a very good spirit in him. I think he will make a wonderful lieutenant governor, and I think he and Dr. Alquist will work great together. How about that?
Wow, that's an endorsement.
It is for both of them. I think they're both great men, and will do wonderful things for our wonderful state of Idaho. And I love it when you go into the school. Our youth, they're so important. They're so articulate, cute, and just wonderful. And Kevin, it's so wonderful to hear their goals in life. And, you know, I just think it's wonderful that you focus on them every year. And I want to thank you for doing that.
Well, Liberty Linda, you know, I appreciate that, but I really learned. We have this young man who, you know, Ivan, going to Cornell, and we don't hear stories like that in the media. We hear the negative stuff, and we have good things going on in every form of education, and I marvel at how much I learned from doing the schools every year. And like I said, some places don't appreciate us being there. I don't know what they're hiding or what have you, but I will tell you, Columbia is always first because they recognize the value of, you know, getting the good word out. They got a lot of great kids here. You know, is life perfect? Not perfect anywhere, but, I mean, my goodness gracious, that's a huge accomplishment to have people going to Ivy League schools from Idaho, winning scholarships with the Boys and Girls Club, the Drama Club here, FFA. These are all great things going on, so counter to the media narrative.
I agree with you. It's so wonderful to hear how intelligent they are, their wonderful goals, and we do have so many wonderful children. And, you know, it's just wonderful to hear them and their goals in life and to hear the other side of the story that you give us through your show. And I just want to let you know that my dentist listens to your show every morning as well.
Oh, awesome. You want to give a shout-out to your dentist?
I did.
Okay, fair enough. Finally, Liberty Linda, a teacher that made a difference in your life.
Probably Mrs. Welsh. she was one of my favorite teachers. She was my homeroom teacher. And, you know, she gave every child in the class an opportunity. If you put an answer down and she graded you down on it, you could come up and argue with her or tell her what the points you were making, and she would actually change your grade. She taught you to be a thinker, and I think that was wonderful of her.
Well, we need those more than ever, and she did a good job with you, if I must say so myself.
Thank you, Kevin. You're always wonderful.
You stay out of trouble. All right, Liberty Linda.
Okay, all right. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, have a great day.
You as well, Kevin. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, coming up, much more of your phone calls and talking about great educators. And I just can't get enough of this bill to well, essentially what it's going to do, if you're going too slow in the left-hand lane, I guess they can give you a ticket. That's what the legislature is deciding to do with your tax dollars that we're paying them. Never mind anything about hands-free or the Castle Doctrine or, just all the other shenanigans. The shenanigans at the State House. By the way, at KIDOTalkRadio.com, great blog that I put up. Well, I don't know if it's great, but it's the only take you're going to get when we're talking about what's really happening at the legislature. I mean, what's really happening. It's called Gem State Hardball. And really what it says, or what I've tried to convey, is how the people's agenda continues to get sidetracked, sidebarred, circumvented by leadership, and why this primary might put an end to all that. That more at KIDOTalkRadio.com. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Maggie.
Good.
And here we are back at Columbia High School. We've got a group of folks here talking about the boxing club. Sir, why don't you introduce yourself to the listening public?
Good morning. My name's John Barunda.
All right, John, and you. Go ahead, ma'am.
I'm Sage Hastreiter.
I'm Brandon Childress. And I'm Jared Felty.
All right. Tell us a little bit about the boxing club here, sir.
Well, about almost 3 years ago we started, and it's kind of an intervention or a homeroom type thing it started out as. We had about 20 minutes to...
What do you mean homeroom? You set up the ring in the room and
yeah,
go at it?
It actually was that. We had a ring set up in my classroom. We just moved the desk out of the way, and
sure,
we had a couple of pairs of gloves, but it's progressed. We then moved to the auxiliary gym, and then this year we are at the wrestling room. So we actually have a nice facility to hit some bags and hit some mitts and things like that.
How does that help the education process?
Well, I think a well-rounded student is kind of the goal. So physically active, mentally active, sound mind, sound body type thing.
Right. I think the world we live in today, though, people would be worried about boxing because of the liability and all, right?
Yes. Well, on the flip side, we also want to help kids learn about self-defense. In the world you speak of, self-defense is come in handy.
The way he's saying that, I believe him anyway. Ma'am, tell us a little bit about the boxing club and why you're drawn to that here at Columbia.
So part of the reason that I actually joined is because it was a way for me to be able to work out like some aggression and stuff without actually having to confront any of the students, and
that's no fun. Boy, everybody just held their tongue on that one. But anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead, please.
No, it's
your
okay.
answer was so great, and I had to ruin it. Yes.
It's just.
Would you recommend that? I love like a lot of coworkers. I'd like to take my aggression out on. Would that be like?
I really wouldn't recommend it.
Okay, but
it's just easier to. I found it's easier to hit the bag because I personally have a problem hitting people.
Sure,
that's just not
but you don't have a problem hitting the bag.
No,
that's a good thing.
It's an inanimate object.
Yes, right.
So I love the program. I love the fact that it gives people the opportunity to be able to come and feel like they have a place they can go without, getting in trouble for hitting something that isn't a person. And a lot of the people that come in are either trying to work stuff out or they're trying to see if this is something that they want to do at an actual gym. And so it just gives them an opportunity to be able to.
Sure. Okay, sir, go ahead here. Jump in there.
Yep.
Yeah, the mic works. Go ahead. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, I started because I knew it was a sport that I already did do,
Right.
and I would have liked to bring that to Columbia.
That's a little scary, though. You get in a ring and you punch everybody. I mean,
we make
not
sure,
everybody can box, right?
And that's true. That's why we teach them first, preferably.
Right.
And we make sure that there's safety measures in place.
Right.
For instance, we can't hit them in the face unless they've got proper headgear on.
Right.
To make sure that there's no damage.
Sure.
To the student.
How does it help you in school? Does it help you in school to have this training program here?
Yeah, it gives me a chance to have something else out of school.
Right.
Other than just pure sitting down in a chair and having teachers tell you exactly what to do on an assignment. It makes it so that I can go during halfway through the day and box. Do something that I enjoy doing. It gives school worthwhile of coming here.
Right. That positive reinforcement, right?
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
So where would you like to see the program go from here?
Well, we've taken small steps. Like I said, we started out just in a classroom, and then we've gotten into larger, nicer facilities. Possibly, we'd like to see it. Possibly, we'd like to see.
Yeah, you got to keep going. Yeah.
We'd like to see this turn into a team sport, and we've had schools from Nampa come and watch us and start their own club. So, Nampa High has a program. And they have a gym at the Karcher Mall.
Right.
That we kind of modeled ourselves after.
Sure.
So if Nampa High maybe would have a team, Columbia would have a team, maybe a couple other schools in the Treasure Valley could get a team together. Potentially it could be a sport, down the road.
Right. Exactly. Go ahead and tell us a little bit about why you like the box.
Well, I was in MMA and boxing beforehand. So in middle school and such, and sorry, really close. That's really close. Okay.
So we can hear you.
Sorry. So yeah, I was in boxing and MMA before I came to Columbia, and it just it's like Sage said, it's a really good way to get out like past aggression or aggression you're having with other students, even without having to confront them, and then risk getting in trouble with the course of school, potentially law if you're Sage, because she's crazy sometimes.
Sure, a little too much information, but yeah, keep going.
Yeah, it's overall pretty fun.
But what's the reaction of your parents? What do they think?
My parents think it's a great idea.
Right.
I mean, I have gone in fights before I was in boxing and such, but now that I have been in it more often, I don't get in as many fights because I have more ways to get out my aggression, like boxing and such.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and it helps you with your classwork?
I believe so, yeah.
That's a leading question. You can just say yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
Yes, I do. Because it helps distress yourself, really.
Sure. Sure.
You have that just 30-minute period of having the absolute most fun you could ever have.
We need to get a heavy bag at the broadcast center to help us be focused. Sir, anything else you'd like to share with us here at Columbia?
Well, I probably should give a shout out to the guys who helped us. That'd be Mr. Wilson Hume and Mr. Potter, the athletic director, and also Mr. Babcock, who I mentioned earlier from Nampa High School, and his boxing club, the Crusader Boxing Club at the Karcher Mall. They've helped us with equipment, and we've kind of used their
facility.
Their skills, and we've kind of modeled our program after theirs, I should say.
Sure. Well, we appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. Great job. 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Kevin Miller in the morning. Coming up, we're going to talk a little bit about the state legislature, but it's getting heated between California and the United States of America. Tough to believe that this is really going on. We'll share that sound with you coming up again. Don't forget KIDO Talk Radio. We've got some great blogs. Now, before we get to that, here is the president concerning tariffs and the waivers from our own Rachel Sutherland at KIDO
White House
Talk
Press
Radio.
Secretary Sarah Sanders says there may be national security exemptions for certain countries like Canada and Mexico.
That would be a case-by-case and country-by-country basis.
Sanders defending the tariffs plan as more than 100 House lawmakers are urging the president to reconsider on concerns over a trade war.
He feels like the United States has been taken advantage of for far too long.
White House trade advisor Peter Navarro told the Fox Business Network that Canada and Mexico could be exempted permanently if they agree to a fair NAFTA deal. In Washington, Rachel Sutherland, Fox News.
All right, more on that in a minute, plus California versus America. Hank has been very patient. Hank, good morning. You're on KIDO Talk Radio with Kevin Miller. Good morning, Hank.
Good morning. Well, what I'd like to comment is I was listening to Steve Yates, and when you were asking him the questions about the delays and stuff in the legislature, I noticed how gingerly or how carefully he tiptoed around the questions. And I think it's reflective, again, of the overall fear of a lot of our key politicians of CL Butch Otter, or Butch Baby, as I call him. The thing is that the only politician I've seen so far that's been outspoken about the cronyism, the backdoor dealings, and all that is Raul. Everybody else seems to tiptoe around it, and I think we need to. I think that we need to look for people who are unequivocal about kind of changing the whole political atmosphere of this place. I mean, we basically got a Boise Swamp. It's the creation of two separate governors, Kemp Gordon and C.L. Otter.
And one would argue, if you believe, and Hank, you're plugged into a lot of folks. One would argue that's why you see, at least initially right now, the congressman out in front of the polls compared to the other candidates.
Yes, and that's the point I'm making. And I listened to also Brad Little's advertisement that he was playing about being a fearless champion of gun rights. Well, I'll tell you what, a man who dodges a meeting in Nampa and basically can't be found to make a comment on the Castle Doctrine tells me that basically, again, he fears the governor more than he does. I mean, that he's not a man who's resolute, and you don't want this for a governor. I mean, Brad may be a nice guy and a gentleman, but I'll tell you what, he's not a profile in courage, and I think that we need, again, the only person that's been fearless enough to say to be direct about it is Raul. And the thing that really gets me is that let's just don't beat around the bush. Lurcher and Speaker Becky, or Little Scotty as I call him, are basically stooges of Governor Otter. The real puppet master, the one that's pulling the strings, the one that's causing all the delays on the bills, not making sure that these aren't heard, is Otter.
Well, and Hank, that's a great call. Thank you for that at KIDO Talk Radio. That's some of the things that I address at Gem State Hardball on KIDOTalkRadio.com, where you have the confrontation between Mike Moyle and Heather Scott. She wants to make an amendment for the grocery tax. That is a nonpartisan issue, right? That is a nonpartisan issue. And, again, let's just call it like it is. You know, people say, who am I for? I am for you. I am for you and this program because it's a privilege to be here. And hopefully we'll be here for many more years. Nothing is guaranteed. That's not an ominous warning. It's just being honest. And I've always been allowed to be honest with you. And the point I'm trying to make is, if people respected the grassroots, what would they do? They would be very simple and very effective by passing the grocery tax, right? You would eliminate people being upset. They would be fired up about state government. Yes, the grocery tax is gone. But when you see the economic boondoggle that Dr. Ahlquist exposed, with the state paying $35 million more for HP than the bid that he put in, and then the millions of dollars that are going in, and people say, well, we didn't vote on that. I didn't know when the legislature did it. And then when you see the CBD oils not even getting a hearing or going to the floor, you wonder, well, they're out of touch. And that worked in the past, but you've never had a primary like this coming up on May 15th with the whole leadership being turned over. And it comes down to this. That's why, right now, Congressman Labrador, he's calling people out. He's linking this person to that person. Again, if the folks respected the grassroots, the grocery tax repeal would have happened. Now, the governor is still the boss of us until November. And if he's going to, whether it's the grocery tax or the CBD oils or anything else, I mean, it's not me speculating. You had a chairman break the rules, admit to breaking the rules, have people behind closed doors saying the governor doesn't want this to happen. I didn't know he was the boss of the legislature. who does that help? It doesn't help people associated with Governor Otter, who, again, narrowly beat Russ Fulcher 4 years ago, lost Ada and Canyon counties. Look, I'm not picking sides, but I'd be remiss if I didn't tell you what the word on the street is. So there's an opportunity. Like I said, we're open to everyone. We had Steve Pankey on. That was a little tune-out factor, in my personal opinion. But, look, we want everybody to do their best to represent the state. The state deserves that. Anyway, more of your phone calls next, 580-5436, 580-KIDO. You're going to hear from the folks in California going crazy. Jeff Sessions not backing down. What's next? Stay with us to find out. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio.
Hi, this is
Kevin Miller in the morning here from Columbia High School. We so appreciate you joining us. Rolling once again. So many seasons. I mean, I think these kids we started when they were in middle school. Now they've graduated. Pretty soon they'll be graduating college. Let's go to Aaron in Nampa with Kevin Miller at KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Aaron.
Hey, good morning. Hey, I wanted to just say that I really appreciated what Hank said about Raul. I totally agree. He's been a great representative. I've been proud to support him every time he's been up for election. And in my opinion, it's Raul or nobody. Little, I think, is just part of the good old boy network, and Alquist, he always talks about being an outsider, but, he's an urban renewal crony himself. And so, I just don't view those guys as just being, up to snuff. But, really would be, I think it'd be great if Raul won, and, I think he'd be a great governor.
All right, Aaron, thank you for listening to KIDO Talk Radio.
Yep, thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. Let's go to traffic and weather together. Sometimes when we think about whether it's raining or snowing, at least we're not like the East Coast of the United States. My mom was texting me this morning because gosh knows what did we do before we texted photos. 15 inches of snow, and it hasn't stopped. Whew. Another good reason. Another good reason to live in Idaho, right, Jeff Sessions?
State with an important part of America. We wanted a healthy and good relationship with it, but federal law determines immigration policy. State of California is not entitled to block that activity. Somebody needs to stand up and say no.
This is basically going to war against the state of California, the engine of the American economy. It's not wise, it's not right, and it will not stand.
Here's my message to Mayor Schaaf. How dare you? How dare you needlessly endanger the lives of our law enforcement officers to promote a radical open borders agenda?
As I've said many times, our state laws work in concert with federal laws, and our state law enforcement officials work in concert with federal law enforcement officials every day. That's not something we intend to change.
We admit 1.1 million immigrants lawfully to permanent resident status in the United States every year. No nation comes close to that.
Man, that sounds like pro wrestling instead of politics, right? Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning.